I'm gonna need you to stand still, please.
Hey. The fuck?
You're not busy, are you?
Ow.
The movie opens with a tense scene where a woman is shown confronting a dangerous man. She asks him if he remembers her, and before he can respond, she shoots him without hesitation. Wounded and bleeding, she makes her way through the dark streets of Los Angeles, heading into the city's grim slum areas. There, she sits inside a car, desperately trying to patch up her wounds using nothing but a small table and some tape. The story then takes us back 5 years earlier, through a flashback. We see a woman named Riley North walking with her young daughter after shopping at a mall. Riley is portrayed as a devoted mother, but her life is far from easy. She gets into a heated argument with her neighbor about a children's party, showing the kind of small frustrations that weigh on her. Her husband, Chris, works at a struggling auto repair garage. Times are tough for the family, and despite Riley having a job at a bank, they continue to struggle financially. Chris's friend, Mick, tempts him with a risky plan to rob money from a powerful drug dealer named Diego Garcia. Initially hesitant, Chris knows the family needs money and reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, Riley notices her daughter Carly sitting sadly on her birthday, disappointed that none of her friends showed up to the party. Wanting to cheer her up, Riley promises that they'll go out together and have fun instead. Around the same time, Chris calls Mick to back out of the robbery, realizing the danger isn't worth it. But it's already too late. Diego Garcia's men have discovered Mick's betrayal and kill him. Believing Chris was also involved, Diego orders his men to track him down. That evening, Riley, Chris, and Carly are out celebrating when suddenly 3 armed men sent by Diego ambush them. In a horrifying barrage of gunfire, Chris and Carly are killed instantly, while Riley, though gravely wounded, miraculously survives. She wakes up in the hospital, devastated and broken. Soon after, Detective Carmichael arrives to take her statement. Riley tells him she can identify the shooters. At the police station, she points out all 3 men responsible. Another officer, Detective Beltran, however, seems uninterested in helping her. This marks the beginning of Riley's long and painful fight for justice. In court, the 3 shooters responsible for killing Riley's family are brought before the judge. Riley is determined to see justice, but the defense attorney twists the case by pointing out that Riley has been on medication for depression, casting doubt on her credibility. Her own lawyer barely puts up a fight, and the judge dismisses her pleas. What Riley doesn't realize is that everyone in that courtroom, the lawyers, the judge, even the prosecutor, has been bought off by Diego Garcia's cartel. Enraged, Riley lunges toward the killers in the courtroom, ready to attack them herself, but the police restrain her before she can act. The judge orders that she be committed to a psychiatric ward. While being transported in an ambulance, Riley seizes her chance. She wounds Detective Carmichael, steals his ID card, and escapes into the night. From this point, the movie takes a sharp turn. 5 years later, Detectives Carmichael and Beltran are called to a gruesome scene. The same 3 shooters who once walked free are now found hanging lifelessly from a Ferris wheel at a carnival near the very place Riley's family was murdered. The killings send shockwaves through the city, forcing police and media to question whether this is an act of vengeance or the work of a vigilante. Meanwhile, FBI agent Lisa Inman is introduced. She begins investigating a string of unusual crimes tied to a mysterious woman. Records show that 5 years earlier, Riley North vanished after robbing the bank where she once worked, stealing over $500,000. Since then, she resurfaced across Europe and Asia under different identities, where she reportedly trained with underground fighters and acquired military-grade weapons. Agent Inman presents surveillance footage showing Riley raiding a military arms convoy, confirming she has transformed into a highly skilled and dangerous vigilante. It becomes clear that Riley has returned to Los Angeles with one goal: to take down everyone involved in the death of her husband and daughter. Her first target is the corrupt judge who dismissed her case years ago. Riley tracks him to his home and executes him in cold blood. The murder of a sitting judge grabs national media attention and ignites a heated debate. Is Riley North a ruthless criminal, or a hero delivering the justice the system failed to provide? Public opinion becomes divided. Some see Riley as a hero fighting corruption, while others call her a dangerous criminal. Meanwhile, Diego Garcia realizes that Riley is responsible for wiping out his 3 hitmen and destroying part of his drug operation. Furious and alarmed, he orders his men to hunt her down. Riley strikes again by infiltrating one of Diego's major drug warehouses. Disguised, she storms inside, killing several of his men and setting the entire facility ablaze. She deliberately spares one survivor, ensuring that word spreads through the media about her growing reputation. The message is clear: Riley is not only alive, but she is dismantling Diego's empire piece by piece. The FBI, still struggling to understand her motives, continues to track her. Agent Inman studies her actions carefully and begins to see a pattern in her attacks, which leads her to suspect that Riley is living in the slums of Los Angeles. Diego, still unaware of her true identity, prepares elaborate traps to lure her out. His men set explosives in a building, hoping to kill her, but Riley escapes unharmed and eliminates the hitmen sent after her. As she continues her mission, Riley earns the respect of the local community in the slums. Residents tell investigators that since Riley's return, crime in their neighborhood has dropped drastically. To them, she is not a criminal but a guardian angel protecting the helpless. Eventually, Riley storms Diego's mansion, cutting down dozens of his men in a violent showdown. She finally confronts Diego himself. Pointing a gun at him, she declares that all she ever wanted was justice for her family. But before she can finish him, Diego's young daughter enters the room. For a brief moment, Riley hesitates, seeing the image of her own daughter in the frightened child. Diego seizes the opportunity to fight back, wounding Riley badly. Despite her injuries, she manages to escape once again. Bleeding and exhausted, Riley seeks refuge at her old neighbor Peg's house, the same woman who years ago ruined Carly's birthday party by convincing other parents not to let their children attend. In Riley's mind, Peg is partly responsible for the tragedy that followed, since that lonely birthday outing was when her family was ambushed. She terrifies Peg, steals her car, and disappears into the night. Meanwhile, Agent Inman uncovers evidence that Detective Carmichael has been secretly working with Diego's cartel. She shows this proof to Beltran, but before she can act further, Carmichael turns on her. He shoots Inman in the head and calls Diego, revealing that he knows where Riley is hiding. As Diego's cartel tightens its grip, Riley continues her war. Haunted by memories of her daughter, she dreams of Carly calling out to her, begging her not to give up. The vision fuels her rage, and Riley pushes forward. One by one, she hunts down Diego's men, killing them with ruthless precision. Soon, she infiltrates another of Diego's safe houses, confronting his armed soldiers head-on. After wiping them out, she warns the surviving cartel members to leave the innocent people of Los Angeles alone, threatening to kill every last one of them if they continue their crimes. Diego, angered by her audacity, vows to personally end her life. During this time, Riley uncovers undeniable proof of Detective Carmichael's corruption and betrayal. Using his stolen phone, she leaks the evidence to the media, publicly exposing him as a dirty cop working with Diego's cartel. The news spreads quickly, shaking public trust in the system even further. Riley then makes a desperate appeal, urging people to stand up against the criminals who destroyed her family and reminding them that justice should not be bought. In retaliation, Diego kidnaps a young girl, threatening to kill her if Riley doesn't surrender. The standoff escalates into a brutal confrontation. Diego viciously attacks Riley, nearly killing her. But she refuses to give in, fighting back with every ounce of strength left in her body. Just as Diego thinks victory is his, the police arrive on the scene. Believing Carmichael called them, Diego shoots him without hesitation, confirming once again where his loyalties lie. Chaos erupts. Riley manages to corner Diego in front of everyone. Beltran and the other officers try to stop her, insisting that the law will handle him this time. But Riley no longer believes in the system. It already failed her once. Diego mocks her, boasting that he'll bribe his way out of prison and walk free within days. Riley coldly replies, "Who said you're going to prison?" and executes him on the spot. The police open fire on Riley, but in the confusion she escapes once again. Gravely wounded, she makes her way to the cemetery where her husband and daughter are buried. Collapsing at their graves, she breaks down in tears, telling them she no longer wants to live without them. Beltran finds her there and has her rushed to the hospital. News of Diego's death and Carmichael's betrayal explodes across the media, reigniting the debate. Was Riley North a criminal vigilante, or a mother who finally delivered justice when no one else would. The police officially label Riley as a criminal, declaring that she must pay for what she has done. Hearing this, Detective Beltran reflects quietly on everything that has happened. He approaches Riley, who is handcuffed and recovering from her wounds, and tells her that many in the department secretly agree with what she did. They know the system failed her, and that justice was never going to be served through the courts. But, he warns, the law will not show her mercy. If she stays in custody, she'll spend the rest of her life in prison, which is not the fate she deserves. With those words, Beltran discreetly slips her the key to her handcuffs. Later that night, Riley manages to free herself and disappears into the darkness, leaving behind the broken system that failed her and the city she shook to its core. Thus ends the story of Riley North, a mother who lost everything, and in her grief, transformed into a relentless force of vengeance. To some, she is a murderer. To others, she is a hero. But above all, she remains a symbol of what one determined woman can do when justice is denied.